Welcome back to The Vocalist. Today we are listening to the band Paramore. I have heard them before, but this will be the first time we talk about Hayley Williams vocals on the channel. So we're going back in time a little bit to 2014 and we're going to watch a live performance of the song Last Hope. Here we go.
This next song is called Last Hope. I don't even know myself at all. I thought I would be happy by now. But the more I try to push it, I realize gotta let go of control. Gotta let it happen. Gotta let it happen. Gonna let it happen. Gonna let it happen. And it's just a spark, but it's enough to keep me going. And when it's dark out, no one's around, it keeps glowing. Put your cell phones and lighters up high. Come on, Chicago! Hey! Woo! That's right! And every night I try my best to dream. Tomorrow makes it better. Then I wake up to the cold reality, and not a thing is changed. But it will happen. I gotta let it happen. Gotta let it happen. Gotta let it happen. Come on. It's just a spark, but it's enough to keep me going. And when it's dark out, no one's around, it keeps growing. How it's just a spark, but it's enough to keep me going. And when it's dark out, no one's around, it keeps growing. And the salt in my wounds.
I'm gonna stop here. It's very easy to get sucked in. I think my favorite thing about her vocals, her control. I feel like Paramore always, their live performances are always so good. And I think obviously there's a lot involved with that, but when it comes to vocals, they can make or break a live performance, and she is just always on. She has so much finesse and so much control. It's so impressive. That's it. So we're going back. We're gonna talk about it. Here we go.
This next song is called Last Hope.
I love hearing her speak as well because she has a very resonant, boomy speaking voice. And yet she sings just a little bit higher than that speaking range. She does an incredible job of just seamlessly transitioning throughout her registers. And I think when you hear her speak and you recognize where her voice, naturally sits a lot of the time, it's really cool to then sort of reconcile that with what we hear from her a lot.
I don't even know myself at all.
Like that one line alone, we had gorgeous texture starting with a fry. She's in a mix, but I would say it's more head dominant to start, and so then she flips out of that into a slightly more falsetto head voice sound.
I don't even know myself at all. I thought I would be happy by now. But the more I try to push it, I realize gotta let go of control. Gotta let it happen.
Beautiful scoop.
Gotta let it happen.
I like the way she sings on the consonants as well. Happen, just kind of hanging on to that N.
Gotta let it happen. Gotta let it happen. Gotta let it happen. And it's just a spark, but it's enough to keep me going. And when it's dark out, no one's around, it keeps glowing.
The placement shift is. Let me play that back.
To keep me going. And when it's dark out, no one's around, it keeps glowing.
She naturally keeps a lot of her sound forward, I think, from what I'm hearing. And so when she takes moments to have these taller vowels or uses a little bit more backspace, it's so elegant. Like, that shift is so seamless, and yet it stands out in the most interesting way.
It keeps
that was it.
glowing. When it's dark out, no one's around, it keeps glowing. Put your cell phones and lighters up high. Come on, Chicago. Hey! Woo! That's right. And every night I try my best to dream. Tomorrow makes it better. Then I wake up to the cold reality.
Like, just right there, flipping from that head voice back into her mix, it's so seamless, and she does such a great job of balancing her air pressure in the entirety of her range so that we don't get any sort of splat or this really abrasive volume shift whenever she's changing registers.
Not a thing is changed, but it will happen. I gotta let it happen. Gotta let it happen. Gotta let it happen. Go. It's just a spark, but it's enough to keep me going. And when it's dark out, no one's around, it keeps growing. How it's just a spark, but it's enough to keep me going. And when it's dark out, no one's around, it keeps growing. And the salt in my wounds isn't burning anymore than it used to.
Gorgeous phrasing.
It's not that I don't feel the pain, it's just I'm not.
Oh golly, I just love the tiny little changes she makes that give such a drastic shift to the song. So that first phrase felt so, again, it was, the whole thing's very well controlled, but it felt a little bit more contained. And then we got a little bit more press that second time around. Let me back this up actually so we can hear that. A little further.
How it's just a spark, but it's enough to keep me going. And when it's dark out, no one's around, it keeps growing. And the salt in my wounds isn't burning anymore than it used to.
Really gentle.
It's not that I don't It's just I'm not afraid of hurting anymore.
We got more press and more air pressure.
And the blood in these veins isn't pouring any less than it ever has. You sing this line with me loud, and that's the hope I have. The only thing I know is keeping me alive. Chicago, let's go! Gonna let it happen. Gonna let it Gotta let it happen. Gotta let it Gotta let it happen. Gotta let it Gotta let it happen. Gotta let it happen. That's just a spark.
Oh, I love that transition. Let me get that slide again.
Gotta let it happen. That's just a spark, but it's enough to keep me going. So if I let go of control now, I can be strong. Now no one's around, it keeps growing, and it's just a spark, but it's enough to keep me going. So if I keep my eyes closed with the black hole, now
Just the tiny little details, like to have more separation between those words. Every time I could just go on and on about her performance style or like expertise, really, because tiny little shifts, tiny little nuances make a big difference. And this could be a really boring song if she wasn't adding so much character and giving us so much variety. And so there, finding a little separation between the words. Previously, you know, she changed her diction a little bit. There are moments when it's a little bit more subdued, and then there are other moments when it is so precise, and especially some of those ending consonants got really aspirate. And so yeah, I love the variety. Okay.
I keep my eyes closed with the black hole. Now no one's around, it keeps growing.
I realize this is far from their most challenging song vocally, but I picked it specifically because you can still hear so much skill despite what seems like, I know it's not, but what seems like a simple song. So much variety. And, you know, as I was listening, she's another one of those singers that I think could really find herself in any genre if she wanted to. I think Paramore is considered a rock band, and we get that rock sound, but you can also hear punk, you can hear country. She has moments of really like velvety smooth texture where she could sing jazz if she wanted. You know, it's so thrilling to hear her ability to sort of morph styles from one song to the next, even though, yes, we can hear that consistent through line as well. But back to this song, I mean, we got so much texture. She has incredible dexterity throughout her range. We didn't even hear that highs and the lows that we hear in other songs, and it's just to have the career that they've had, the longevity, the number of performances they've done, and for her vocally to have maintained that range and built upon it and to deliver such incredible quality performance in like live performance is just, it's amazing. Obviously I like what they do. So that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching with me, and hopefully I will see you next time.